Hey, everybody, it is Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and we're back here with another great episode where I actually get to introduce you to some of the coolest people I know on the World Wide Webs, as well as in person. Some of these people I've met in person, like today's guest I have. I actually met Teri Karjala. I know I'm going to mess her name up, and trust me, she is so cool, all right? You don't even know her last name. You just need to talk with Teri. That's all you need to know, all right? She's cool. I met her at the E-Women Conference a couple years ago, and I know we've been friends on Facebook, but I started to watch, as I do, I check people's content out online because I'm a content person, and I was watching some of her videos, and I love the way she starts her videos. And I seen her at E-Women Conference, and I just grabbed her and I said, Teri, you don't know who I am, all right, but I watch your videos, and I think they're cool and everything like that. And then, you know what I mean, we shared some of the stuff that I've done online. And she went home. She goes, I'm going to try that. And I'm sure we'll talk about it here today. But anyway, I'm going to introduce you to Teri. All right. She's one fantastic person. She's got one of the coolest personalities you can ever find online. So let's just bring her on and make this a fun day today. Hi, Teri.
Hello. How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Show me your dance. Come on. I want to see your dance.
Well, I need some music. Well, I start opening up with some dance moves. And honestly, right now, I'm actually working with someone to create my intro. So I'm working with a band to officially create a new song. So I'm excited. It'll be all mine.
Yeah, I don't know if you learned the way I learned, all right? You don't use other people's music to start your videos. It's the fastest way to get them shut down.
I know. So I've been using some royalty-free stuff, but now I'm actually having it created for me. So
which is smart. I mean, and you know what I mean? I have one of my neighbors is a musician, but he doesn't write much of his own stuff. But I'm working with him to create my own too, because again, I learned the hard way. Don't use other people's content.
Exactly.
So I was so excited the time I got to meet you at E-Women Conference here in Dallas. And I know you don't live in Dallas. You live in Colorado, correct?
Correct. Yeah. It was great running into you as well. Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew that I was watching you. I like to watch a ton of people secretly. I'm a stalker, but I'm not a scary stalker. In other words, I'm not trying to haunt you or hurt you. I just love checking out content.
I love it. Well, I feel honored. Hopefully you don't have like a huge report of like change ups and do-overs, like, oh, do this.
Yeah. When we go to, and I know you go to conferences too. Do you find those people who come up to you and go, well, can I give you some advice? And most of the time you're like, who are you? What makes your advice so great?
Right. Well, no, one of the things that we connected on is that because we had this conversation, I was like, obviously you look like Tom Petty. Now with the shorter
but anyway.
Not with the shorter hair, like, and the darker hair. I mean, you're changing it up here.
This is actually my natural color.
Oh, look at that. I love it. And honestly, and I was telling you that, and I think you had shared with me, like, you look like Amy Poehler. And I think it's my mannerisms more than my actual looks. I'm not sure. But I actually ended up, because of you, grabbing the domain, notamypoehler.com. So it is mine. And then it redirects to my website. Although I did go and research you as well. And I must say that your nottompetty.com is brilliant. Like the whole website, it's just brilliant. Like the way that you have your video. And so I just have mine linked. I didn't take it to the next level like you did, but all in time, right?
Yeah. It's a process, all right? And you get it, all right? And that's what I love, like, going to especially E-Women Conference, all right? The people there, when they come up and start talking with you, the conversation will lead to ideas. And I know that's the way you are because I've watched your videos. You're not only sharing ideas, but you're like, you've got the ears tuned for like, I'm listening for ideas. You have no idea that I'm listening to everything you say and I'm going to get an idea out of it. And I love that about you.
And I do. And I literally have, oh my goodness, look at this. I literally have journals. Oh my gosh, did you see this? Like, this is
oh my gosh.
That's a hot mess right there. But you know what? It makes sense to me. So can I get that on the camera? Okay. But I have all these ideas, right? And that's like, there's like 3 of these. Okay. And when I'm doing my Facebook Lives, when I'm having conversation, and I have some ideas. I'm like, oh yes. So I'll go down and write it down. Then I'll start to kind of like, okay, what are the what are the ideas and what are like the points and what are the takeaways? And, so I'm constantly looking for, like you said, ideas on what I can talk about, what people are on people's hearts, what's on people's minds. How can I be, a problem, a solution for them, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and everything, I thought everything I do, and tell me if this has been you over the years, because I mean, I've watched, how long, well, first of all, let me go this. How long have you been doing this?
So I started, it's a little bit of a long story. I'll try to keep it short here, but I started counseling when I was really age 15. I was a peer counselor. We went to Washburn University and got trained in these 3-day really intensives. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I started my career. And I loved it. So I fell in love with the counseling. I ended up going on, and after college, or during, when I was making the choice to go to college, I ended up going to get a counseling degree. So I went into counseling. I did, all sorts of things. I wanted to taste everything. I did crisis counseling. I did, I did mental health counseling at community service, community places. And then I ended up opening my own practice. And that was in 2001. I opened my own private practice, and then we grew it and expanded it. And now it's an owner independent company that doesn't require much of my effort on my part. So I still own it, but it runs by itself at this point. And then that has given me the freedom the last 5 years for sure. Talking with Teri was always this. I had this social media person one time, and she asked me what my retirement plan was, and I word vomited on her. I hadn't even said these things out loud before. And I just told her, I was like, well, I'm going to be traveling in the world speaking, I'm not really sure. And by the way, when I told her that, I was terrified of speaking. And I was like, where did that come from? I was like, I might even have my own television show, maybe my own radio show. I don't know. And so I was like, I think it's going to be called Talking with Teri. And she goes, oh my goodness, I love the idea. So I bought the domains 10, 15 years ago, knowing I wasn't ready for it because I still didn't have a time to devote to it, right? So I built a company to where it was, owner to independent. And then, in the last 5 to 10 years, I've really allowed myself to bring about, if you will, and fully bring awareness to Talking with Teri. And so now that's where I travel and speak. I obviously coach, and I now take my 22 plus years of counseling experience, and I combine it with energy psychology, and then apply the principles of quantum physics to really help business owners. So clear out all the crud that's holding them back, and really allow them to step into their possibilities with their business and with their life.
Well,
that was a long answer.
I know. No, that's good. That's what I want. I want a description of it so people understand it. Because there's somebody out there who's watching this, and you know what I mean. They're maybe they're 19, maybe they're 20, and they're going, well, I can't do that. Like, dude, start planning now. Before you know it, you're going to be 40.
Exactly. The time goes by fast.
Yeah. And I mean, if I can go back to my 20s, you know what I mean, and start laying out what I do now. I've spent 10 years laying this out, and I still feel like I'm a beginner 10 years into this. All right. You, all right, as a teenager, did you feel like, you know what I mean? Oh my God, who's going to take my word for this?
Yeah. Well, interesting enough, I think the biggest challenge that I ran into was like my age, or my appearance of my age, because I came out of college with tons of experience. I mean, I had tons of experience going into college and then coming out of college. And so I looked like I was 12. Okay. And so then when I was going to get referrals from physicians, that was probably the hardest piece, because people would not take me seriously because I looked like I was 12.
Wow.
And I'm like, I have my own company, right? But I definitely had to prove myself, for sure, that I knew the business and I understood it. And as soon as I was able to kind of prove myself to them that I actually had a legitimate business, I have employees, things like that, they were like, oh, okay. So, but I think that, I'm a big believer that, that things happen for us, not to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that, when I look back, my life was very orchestrated. I didn't even have awareness around it. And I was like, oh, look at that. This person came into my life and this person came into my life. Because I was a first generation college student. So I kind of muddled through the whole college situation because I had no guidance. I didn't know how to do this whole college thing, right? And I figured it out as I went. But I found myself connecting with these powerful mentors. Now looking back, they were mentors. I didn't call them that, but they were these people that just came into my life, and they were just gently there to like make tweaks along my path. And I'm just so grateful because I'm like, it led me here, and I'm just so grateful for those experiences.
Yeah. I tell people, like, I do usually ask this a lot with people on my show, but I always ask about the mentors you had. For me, I tell people I had the same thing. I had mentors along the way. I didn't know they were mentors, but like stupid things. Like, I worked at a gas station in like Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and the boss I had gave me this bit of wisdom that I've carried through for, 30 plus years now. I still think of what he said to me, and it was a part-time job. And most of us don't realize that that's where our mentorship comes from. It comes in sound bites. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And you say, like you said, you've had a ton of them. But now I still think you look like you're in your 20s, but you know what I mean?
I know. Thank you, makeup strategy.
I'm not going to say that you are older. You're still 20 something to me. All right.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
But as you've aged, Teri, are there people now that you're giving sound bites to? All right, that like every now and then they walk up to you at some place, like E-Women Conference, and go, Teri,
Yeah.
you said blah, and that impacted me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my love language is gift giving. And so handwritten cards and all of that stuff falls into that. But giving tips, insights, I usually will ask first and say, can I give you a bit of advice or tip or, a tool? Like people know me for having tons of energetic tools because I like to incorporate all the universal laws into creating a business. And so if people are open to it, I love just like sprinkling it in, and I just like say, go prove me wrong and just go see what happens, right? And then just like they'll call me or text me and say, oh my goodness, I just did this, and blah 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 blah. And it's powerful, it's fun, and it gives me it's so rewarding to me because feeling it's like, okay, it doesn't require much oftentimes to help shift something in someone's lives. So if they're open to it, I love sprinkling in some possibilities in people's lives.
I love giving people a challenge. Maybe that should be your thing, giving people a challenge. Hey, I got to prove me wrong challenge for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do this for, X amount of time. I love it. I love it.
So, you've been in this since your teens. All right. You're out there helping people along the way. And, you've become associated with quite a lot of different people throughout the years. Do you mainly help women or, kids or teenagers, or do you have a set group?
So now with Talking with Teri, I focus solely on women and women entrepreneurs. I do have some professionals that I work with, but typically those folks that are building their empire, that are finding themselves getting stuck. I call it getting stuck in the muck, where they spiral out of control and they're getting consumed by fear, doubt, worry, insecurity, self-sabotage, the imposter syndrome, and they can't seem to find how to get out of that. And what happens is in our brains, all of those stories start to get reinforced, if you will, and then they start playing that out. And so a lot of times entrepreneurs will get stuck in this wheel of not being able to create the business that they would love to create because they're so trapped in the stories that got them there, right? And so what I do is help clear out. So I always tell people I do two things. One is we help clear out those blocks by utilizing some outside the box tools. And then on the second part that I give them energetic tools to help them continue to grow and expand their business, utilizing universal laws principles. One of them most people are familiar with is the law of attraction, but there's many, many, many other laws out there that is helping support folks in what they're creating. So I just incorporate all of that just to make it easier, for people.
Well,
I think in the beginning I was so I personally was so I didn't know any different. I literally made a post today about the struggle and how I was always taught the force energy versus kind of coming from a place of source energy. And so I struggled and struggled, and then all of a sudden, once I started on my own path and my own personal development, found that there's easier ways to do things. And now it's just like it's so juicy.
yeah. When you say that,
I can't hear you, Tim.
Huh? Can you hear me? Did I lose you? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you, Tim.
Oh, no. I can hear you fine.
I'm not so great on brushing up on my mouth reading, but I'm going to try it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Did we get back? So, if you can hear me live in the audience, go ahead.
I cannot hear you still.
Because she can't hear me all of a sudden. And I'm checking my audio because things that are known to happen. My audio is working. So, but is my internet working? Anyway, I'm going to try to fix this while we talk. Anyway. And is it working? How about now, Teri? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can you hear it? No, whatsoever. Uh-oh. Did I block something on?
Okay, I'm going to just, go ahead. I think I can hear you now.
How about now?
I'm going to take out my speakers. I can hear it that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm sitting here like checking everything, your mic connections, everything. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, there we go. We found you. We're back. I love the suspense.
And now I forget what I was going to ask, but that's okay. We'll move on.
That's okay. I was talking about like being in the struggle mode and talking about like how there's an easier way and by utilizing.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Teri, one of the things I do with my clients is try to help them develop their own path. All right. And so many people out there right now, especially in the self-help space, are trying to get people on, hey, just follow my 10 steps. Yeah, my 10 steps were the 10 steps that got me going. And it's a guideline because step number 5 for you is probably going to be an additional 3 steps. It may not be, you know?
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me how you've applied that into your coaching.
As far as like steps for individuals.
Them finding their own steps, I should say.
Yeah. So when I meet with the person and when we hop on, I have them do some pretty intensive pre-work before we get going. And so through that pre-work, everything is, individually based on what they're going through. Now, there are some similarities that flow over to person, but for most part, it's very individualized. And it's like looking at from how do we get from point A to point B? And everyone's stories and everyone's paths are different. But as you know, I feel like we find and attract our ideal clients that are just that there's something that we relate to them and vice versa, and it's very powerful. But taking people through, okay, let's start working on what are the blocks that are holding you back. What does that look like for you? Let's work on clearing those out. I utilize a lot of energy work that I've collected over the years. Stuff that I found that it's very powerful. It doesn't take very long. Sometimes it's just a few minutes, down to a few seconds, helping them shift that. And then it's taking them into that place of, here, I want you to start creating new daily habits, right? Because I used to think that, whenever I got there, I would stop doing what I took to get there. And I did. I stopped that process, and I saw myself, spiral down. So the things that I'm teaching my clients based on their path, based on what they need, is really a lifestyle change. It's really about, being intentional with what they're creating daily, so that they can continue to create and generate in their life in a fluid manner. So then they just get tools and things. And I always tell clients that I have this side effect, if you will, with the work that I do, because the work that they take, when we are done with our work, I say, okay, it's your time to fire me now because you no longer need me. And the stuff that we worked on, they continue to take with them. I had a client just recently write me a note, a handwritten note card, and she just said that she's increased her business an additional 25%, even in the last 2 months during COVID, since we stopped working together. And I was like, that's how powerful it is. It's just like having the tools and strategies to leverage your business, and that goes with them. So no matter where they're at, but it is about creating that daily habit of implementing them so that they can be successful in, taking and implementing that information that we've worked with on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like tool. I love that tool creation, and I love you use the word fluid. You know what I mean? I teach a lot of people to be fluid in their brand and fluid in what they do, because of the fact that if you're rigid, you're sturdy. All right, you're that concrete in your business, especially in the online world. You're putting concrete on something that has changed in the last 3 months, let alone 6 months. All right, and you're trying to build a concrete foundation into it. It doesn't work that way. It's got to be fluid. I love that.
You got to be able to move with it. You got to be able to pivot. Honestly, when COVID happened, it was for the other company, it was a 72-hour. We made a quick pivot. Went everything telehealth. It was flawless. It was easy. So COVID for me was really just a little bump, because it just wasn't. It wasn't as devastating as it could be in other companies and the talking with Teri was always virtual. So that was, I didn't even skip a beat. Right. So that learning to be, fluid with change. And I didn't realize I didn't realize I liked change until just recently. And I was like, I got to take a look at this. I do like change. So I find that I kind of roll with the punches and like, okay, all right, well, what else is possible? And I keep the mantra is this is showing up for me, not to me, and and oftentimes I'll ask, how much better can this get? Because whether we perceive something as negative, how much better can it get? Or we perceive it as positive, right? How much better can it get? So either way, that's one of my mantras that I have clients just asking, okay, how much better can I get? How much better can I get? So.
And I love that. And I love, what I mean, you mentioned there, I mean, dealing with the changes. All right. And, I've gone through a lot with, hard times, and a lot of my people I have on the show, they've gone through hard times, and COVID has been a hard time for a lot more people.
Yeah.
But it's those people like you and I who've been process creators and thinkers. All right. It's easy for us to get our clients to adapt.
Yeah.
What are some things that some hard times you've gone through, and advice that you would give to others who might be going through the same hard time?
I share a lot about my upbringing. I was a victim of abuse. I had tons of physical abuse or emotional abuse. And, one of the things that I really struggle with, and I actually didn't until about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, share this. Because I was held back in second grade for having learning disability. Now it's, we know what it is. It's called dyslexia. But I really challenged and struggled with that. And just the humiliation that I experienced and the devastation and how that haunted me for years and years and years, and if not decades. And so then I just a couple years ago just started sharing about it. That was one of many struggles. I mean, it was, I've had, other setbacks in my life, but I remember that just being so powerful because I was so embarrassed, and I was so but as I started sharing about it, there became ease with it, right? And I was at one of my live events, and I shared that from stage, and one of the individuals from the audience comes up to me later, and she goes, thank you so much for sharing that struggle, and thank you so much for sharing what you did and all of that, because my daughter is struggling with the same thing. Can she reach out and call you? And I said, 1000%, please, please, please. But I think anytime I've had challenges or setbacks, 2009 was another challenge and setback for our company. Obviously COVID, or, any of these more recent events that have happened is, I go pen to paper, and I start pretty quickly shifting it, because I can go down just like anyone else can go down that negative spiral. And what happens with our brain is our brain's going to find all the negative evidence to support that, right? So very quickly on, I will start looking at, even if I have to dig, okay, even if I have to dig, what are, what is a gift in this, And so I'll start exploring that and then continuing to find in one of my journals right now, I literally from COVID, I have, the gifts that it's given me from my family and personal life, from my first business and my second business. And I currently have 9 pages of gifts.
Wow.
Combined to the 3 of them. So one of the ways in which, and I'm not saying we have to be positive about it all the time, but I know for myself that when I'm in a positive place in creation, I can create more and generate more. But if I go down that spiral, I know that it's going to be harder for me to dig out, and I'm going to start creating that in which where I'm living at, right? If I'm in this, depression and despair, right? So the first step is start taking a look at, even if we just have to say, you know what, I'm grateful that I'm alive and I have a heartbeat. Like, let's start there if we need to, but then let's start moving and shifting in the direction where we're still heading. Because I promise you, all of the business owners out there still have ambitions, still have desires and dreams. So, let's take a moment and be like, okay, this time is serving us. There's tons and tons of awarenesses that are being brought up. So after we find some of the gifts, let's look at some of the awarenesses that were being, so much has been, I grew up in the middle in the country. And so when they go into plow the fields, right, they bring up these big plows and they bring up this like solid dirt and they unearth everything, right? And everything comes up to the surface. Right now, in the last 6 months, we've been going through, everything is being unearthed to us. Things that we've been hiding, things that we've been denying, things that we've been shutting down, running away from, like all of that. And so it feels a little overwhelming, but I think when the dust settles, we're going to be really grateful for this time, because it's being whatever we are needing to be shown individually, as a community, as a family, as a nation, we're being shown a lot of powerful things right now. Yesterday, it was just an example. I was having lunch with my daughter, and there's this group of individuals that are having this fantastic talk, and I couldn't help but eavesdrop on them. And it was, and at one time I went over and I just thanked them for having the conversation that they were having. And they're like, the lady was like, and I said, do you mind me asking how old you are? And so the oldest was 20, the youngest was 16, and there was 5 of them. And I just thanked them for having the conversation they were having, because they were talking, and it just gives me chills, because they were talking about some major issues that are happening in our world right now, but they were doing it in an objective, like in a playful way. But it was like, wow, this is really great. This is how change happens, right? These conversations were happening, a week, they weren't happening, a year ago, right? But this is the opportunity that we have right now for change and having conversations that we've been putting off. So powerful stuff.
Yeah, one of the ththings that I like in that, all right, is you're tuned into the world that's around you. I personally, I try to be so in tune to the world around me, and there's a lot of conversations going on right now about change that aren't positive. And I'm not 100% positive guy. All right, I have 2 sides to me, positive and negative, and I'm real about that.
Yeah.
But being real, I love that, because one of the things you mentioned in there, you were talking about sharing a real story and sharing a struggle, and you were real. Do you? First of all, are you real with your audience on a regular basis, or is it something like, I share at my events, I share the real story, and then I walk away from it? Are you real on a regular basis?
I hope so. I hope I am. And this like conversation is so timely, because I just in the last week made a post about that. I never used to allow myself to be vulnerable. And the reason for that is because I was so afraid of what they would think of me, right? Like that self-protective mode of, I went through a lot growing up, and I had to keep myself protected. And so I noticed there was a protective place where I was coming from. But now I have found the more I can be authentic with my clients, and the more that I can share of my mistakes, because there was a period of time in my life in my early 20s where people thought I was perfect, and I had somehow painted that picture. And I realized that that wasn't me. That wasn't authentic. That's not, I have bloopers all the time. And I have, oops, like literally before this phone call, I had this moment with my daughter and I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm getting ready to go on this show. And I just had to like, like diffuse a situation, and literally like seconds before the show happened, I was like, okay. So I came into my office and I got my brain back on track because I was like, okay, I got to be focused and clear. And so I did a couple of energy tools just to get myself grounded for you guys, right? But that's my life, right? That's what's happening. So, I found that I have become, even in the last like 10 years, even more fall on my sword sort of gal of like just sharing my struggles on my group coaching calls, from the stage, whenever I have the opportunity, because I want to share with people that I didn't always have it figured out, you know, and let them, hop on, my courage for just a little bit so I can get them past that piece. And then it's like their stories. And I always try to help people understand that those struggles that they've had in their life is what makes them unique. That's what makes them powerful, right? And so not to hide away from those stories and those struggles, and to utilize them to our advantage. They're here to serve us.
I've gotten to the point now where, I remember a friend of mine many, many years ago, before I got into this, we were discussing something. And I mean, he worked kind of in some sort of video world. And I said, it'd be so great to have a reality TV show that does something. And I said, something positive. I can't remember what it was. And he said, yeah, but that won't sell. I mean, and he was a Christian guy who worked for a Christian ministry about being positive on video and everything. He says, yeah, but that won't sell on regular TV. Like, what? Why not? He's like, no. And then, I've got to meet Chris Harrison from The Bachelor. And he said, no. He said, if you notice, reality TV doesn't go that way. It goes the other way. And I'm like, why? So now there's the aspect that some people go too far down the rabbit hole of the crap they're in. Right. They don't share the solution to get out.
Yeah.
All right. And have you seen that? All right. And what are you doing to make sure that doesn't happen to you?
Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm just thinking of a couple shows that some friends have asked me to watch recently. And I'm like, what is happening right now? So yes, I think that, first of all, number one, we have got to have our work done. We cannot share our experiences when we're in it, right? I've had clients that are in it right now, and I'm like, okay, it's okay. We're gonna work through this. Once you're out of it, this is going to be, what you're known for. This situation, or this, your courage to overcome this, right? But first of all, most importantly, do the work. We have got to figure out a way to transform the storm, right? We've got to be in a place and space that allows people to see the transformation. So I went from I had X, this situation happened, and now I went through what did I do to overcome it? And then here is, my final destination at this time, right? And allowing them to experience that. And so when they're in that place and they're just, sharing their, struggles, it just doesn't mean that they have done fully the work, and that's okay. We're all on that journey, and sometimes our stuff gets, publicly aired before we're ready to, and sometimes it doesn't. So just a matter of, where they're at in that journey, looking for, like, make sure that we have good closure to that, so that we can move it and transform it, and then show the journey. I mean, that's the most powerful thing, as as the work that you do helping clients, people want to buy the solution, right? You can have had the problem, but they want to buy the solution to that problem.
Yeah.
And
you kind of tapped into your personal life there. I mean, how many kids do you have? First of all, marriage, things like that. Share with my audience. Be personal.
Yeah. So I'm married. I've been married. Oh my gosh, we just celebrated our anniversary.
We've been married 19 years. Going.
Oh my gosh. 19 years. We have one daughter. She's almost 10. And, it's interesting because we weren't sure if we were going to have more kids or not at this point. That I think that ship has sailed. But, what has been fun is that I feel like we have all these other neighbors. Our home is kind of like a hub. And so usually any given time I have anywhere from 4 to 6 kids at our house. And, like, they're here and I just absolutely adore them. And so I feel like I have 6 kids. That's what I feel like sometimes, but yeah. So you asked me about that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else do you want to know? I'm like,
when I share my personal story, and tell me if this is something you do or not. I share my personal story. I try to put something out there. It's like, you know what I mean? That just enough about me and my family, but not too much. And I think some people have gotten into the online world that they think they've got to share everything. Well, great. I don't even know about your cat that died in, 1972,
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think I was brainwashed by DORA. DORA is the Department of Regulatory Agencies. So they oversee anyone who's licensed in the state of Colorado or any license for that matter. So when I was a therapist and I had that therapist hat, we were like, it was, looked, it wasn't looked highly upon if you personally shared anything about your personal life. Like you had to be the professional and it was like, if you shared something personal about yourself, that you had to document why it was relevant and important and beneficial to that person to hear it. So I literally would not share anything about my personal life ever. Ever. And sometimes I was like working with a real estate agent one time and he was like talking, he's like, hey, let's get together, have dinner. I'm like, oh, can we do that? Can we? And he's like, yes, I'm pretty sure we can do that. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, are you sure? Like, I'm not like crossing a boundary or so having said that, I think over the last like 5 to 10 years is when I've been more comfortable sharing stuff about, because I used to never post anything about my personal life, literally, because it was so frowned upon. And I was so like brainwashed to say that that's bad and wrong. And, and so now it's joyful, but I've been like you, I've been doing it in small doses. I've been, sharing pictures here and there, when it comes to my personal life. But people love that. That's what people love. So I've been trying to do it more often. And share on some of the adventures and things, but people love getting to know, my other side, I guess. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I have a professional front of it, obviously, but just sharing. And so for me, up until and I think we're on Instagram together as well. But if you look through my feed, now I'm going to tell people to go look through my feed. What am I doing? But if you go look through my feed, you can actually see the transition for me, because they're like, if you're going to be branding yourself, you have to have pictures of yourself. And I was so resistant to that. I'm like, I am not going to be selfieing myself. Like, I think I took a selfie, my first selfie, like 4 years ago. Like, I'm not into this whole thing. But now I've kind of embraced it and realized it is a brand. I'm building this brand. So, go for it, Teri. So, but if you look at my feed, you'll see the transition.
Well, I mean, the selfie thing. All right. First of all, I'm not into the selfie thing either. And right now I've got to get like a photo shoot because of the fact I cut my hair and all of my photos are long hair.
Right.
But like, I try to get pictures with other people. Like, I think we got a picture together when we were at.
Yeah.
We took a selfie together because of the fact that, I love it. I love documenting that. And it came into a great benefit this weekend. I mean, I lost one of my older cousins this weekend, second cousin this weekend. And a couple of years ago, I hadn't seen her since we were kids, but a couple of years ago, I happened to be in Florida. And basically she came up and spent the day with me because my wife was there doing something business-wise. And I basically was hanging out for the day. She came up, picked me up at my hotel. We went to Disney for the day and then came back and I took pictures. Well, she passed away this weekend. So I immediately am going through my photos to find the picture of the two of us to post. All right. And that's sharing our lives. All right. When we go to the Selfie Generation, well, if I got a picture with you, all right, I want to share that out on my Instagrams. But hey, today we're talking with Teri, but so many people get into, well, is my makeup right? My makeup's never right. So anyway.
Grateful.
Yeah. But it's creating an image, it's creating a world, it's sharing, all right, your world so that they see just enough to know that you're real, but also enough to know that, yes, I'm progressing and I'm learning.
Yeah.
Have you, when you look at people who do stuff like this online and they're marketing your business, and I'm in online marketing, that's what I do, as whereas you're the other side of it, is do you see someone when they start being the selfie ranger, all right, does that start to turn you off, or does it like, okay, who is this person? What's your feelings on that? Either way.
That's a good question. I feel like that's a great question, because I feel like a lot of celebrity brands, right? I think there's an element of intrigue, right? It's like, okay, what do they have to say? What are they doing? Now, I go in this with a little different, like, I'm always looking at things. What can I learn from it? What am I feeling about it? How can I, is there something that they're doing that I like, that I can emulate, on my own style? And so I'm kind of looking at it with a big, broad range, right? But I think, even for myself, I feel like, I think there's a bit of curiosity for me, right? Is like looking, who they are, what do they stand for, are they real? Especially when they start doing some live in videos, like of them, whatever they're doing. Like, I know this one lady that she cooks, and she'll do some cooking, and I'm like, that's so, it's an amazing, like, to see people in their real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean. And I think with social media, we are able to tap into other even celebrities' lives, right? Like, there's tons of people doing Instagrams, and you do get a sense of, because I think sometimes we put people on pedestals too quick, without necessarily getting to know them and who they are. And I think, social media nowadays is allowing in for, that experience, to experience them in their real, being their authentic self.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you know what I mean? I'm glad that you shared your opinion on that, because I love it to hear what other people or how they feel about it. I got mixed feelings sometimes. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I have mixed feelings onto it. I do like the fact that there are certain celebrities that I'm attached to, that when they put a live video on, like, I'm friends with like actresses and actors that I think they just, when they got on Facebook, that they just accepted friends from people. I don't know them personally. I've never met them personally, but I'm friends with them on Facebook. And I know it's them because I've chatted back and forth with them.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, okay, this person's real, and I really kind of like that. And now I go to the real person out there, and I watch like the marketer. I'm a marketer, but I watch the marketer who is basically, from the moment they turn the live video on, they're selling. And I'm like, as opposed to, as opposed to like Ernie Hudson, for instance. I'm friends with Ernie Hudson on Facebook, and I've met Ernie, but Ernie, it's like, when he posts something on Facebook, it's just something real about himself.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. It's, making sure that it's not just fake, or it's selling, because how do you show up and serve? Like, right. Like, show up and serve. Oh, hello, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy Joy. I love Tammy.
I love Tammy.
So, well, first of all, Teri, thank you for coming on today's show. I mean, you've just been a delight to have on my show, as I expected you to be.
Well, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Teri, I always like to make sure people can get a hold of you, all right, who've watched the show, all right, and some watched it live. Some are going to watch this in a replay. So why don't you tell them your website so that they can actually make sure we connect and they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's talkingwithteri.com, and that's Teri spelled Teri. So talkingwithteri.com.
Okay, cool. And do you have any special like free gifts or anything when they come over there to connect with you? Or
if they want to go to talkingwithteri.com/connect, we can find a way to connect. But there's also, I can send you a Master Your Mindset, a little free free little giveaway.
I love it when people offer my audience a free giveaway. So
yeah, absolutely.
No, I thank you. But as I close up my show, I always like to play this little game. Have you heard about my game?
I have.
And wait a minute. Before we play my game, I understand you have a game for me.
I do, because I knew about your little game, and I want to see your game, and I want to up you one game.
Who's going to go first? Should I let you go first, or should I go first?
I can go first real quick.
Go ahead.
So my daughter and I were playing Would You Rather, and I guess there's an app that you can just click. And so I picked up some Would You Rathers for you, okay?
Okay.
So would you rather be able to teleport anywhere or be able to read minds?
I'm thinking of Mel Gibson in What Women Want, and like the reading of minds.
Oh, that's good. That is a good one. That is a good one. I don't know. I think I want to teleport. I think I want to teleport anywhere. But beam me up, Scotty. Okay. Would you rather be compelled to high five everyone you meet, or be compelled to give wedgies to anyone in a green shirt?
Boy, I can't wait till I ask you my question now.
Okay. Well,
high five. I've got to be professional, because there are too many people I would like to wedgie, and it's for totally different reasons. Anyway.
And then you say, go put a green shirt on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather, last one here. Would you rather have your skin change colors based on your emotions, or have tattoos appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday?
Oh, I don't know if I like this one at all. Both of them involve messing with my skin. Okay.
Yes.
I think I'm going to have to go with changing colors and the emotions.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so. That was interesting. I might have to go look that up and try that one.
Yeah.
So mine is called This or That. I give you 9 questions. I give you 2 options. You pick one. And yes, some of them are probably going to have a story, and it's okay. I start out with, I want to know who my science fiction people are, and I always want to see who they are and what they love. And that is, I go Star Wars or Star Trek.
Neither.
So we know that you're not a Trekkie, and we know that you're not into sci-fi. We've got that down.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't remember the DR9442269 guy. I don't remember him.
It's all right. Not everybody is. Trust me. I've got one on here I think I'm going to find out about.
Maybe,
Very interesting.
if I had to pick one, maybe Star Wars.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. How about if we go to the next one here? It's podcast. Would you rather listen to a podcast or read a book? Or listen to an audio book or read a book?
Oh, podcast or audio, for sure.
Yeah. So podcast has become one of the new things that I love to listen to. So that's why I always ask that. Yeah.
And Tim Gillette's podcast, people. Like, listen all day long.
I want a testimonial that says that, by the way.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Of course.
So my next one here, I think we're going to get into some of your personal areas, and that is dress up or wear yoga pants.
Dress up.
Okay.
And I like to dress up all the time. And so when I dress up, like when I say, let's go dress up, like I want formal. Like I want to, like, I'm telling you, like.
Okay. So even in COVID area, you're dressed up, because I can tell you, I've done speeches in COVID area that below the shirt was pajamas.
For me, it's all about this. Like, I feel frumpy. Okay, that's the best way I can. People, and actually, because we talked about eWomen, I travel with several eWomen folks from platinum groups and stuff, and they give me a hard time all the time about not wearing. They've never seen me in yoga pants. They've never seen me in whatever.
I've never seen you, and I've seen you in person a couple times. So
I literally, if I work out, you'll see me in workout attire, 5 minutes before and like 10 minutes after, and then they go off. Like, wow. I feel frumpy, and that's the best way I can say it. So I'm like, I want to, even on the weekends, like I'm wearing, like, I don't know. It's not that I'm super dressed up, but I'm put together. I put together. I
almost always have a dress shirt on. Literally, there's very few times you'll see me do anything with a t-shirt. I always have a dress shirt on. I don't know why. That's just me. And I found it. We were watching Lethal Weapon this weekend, and I realized my entire dress revolves around what Mel Gibson looked like in Lethal Weapon 1.
Yeah. And
that's pathetic.
Yeah. And I even actually like dress up when I go to the airport. Like I'll wear a dress, like, because I never know who I'm going to meet on the airplane. Like I've met amazing people.
Yeah. I always have a suit coat on when I get on an airplane. Always.
Always. because you never know. I've had some amazing connections to
Mm-hmm.
friendships, connections, business have transpired
Yeah.
on a flying. So yeah.
You bet. So now I'm going to move on to a food subject and ask you, tacos or hamburger?
Oh, depends on the day, but I think if I were I love Mexican food. I'm gonna go taco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to move on to back to clothing and go high heels or boots.
Oh, do you know me at all? Like high heels all day long. I think my massage therapist really hates me because I have a hard time wearing flats in general. Can I tell you this really funny story?
But I know this fact. All right, you're so short, you have to wear heels when you get around me.
But you know what's so funny about my height is like I have this inability to see that I'm short.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a tall person. Like I feel like I'm a solid 5'6". Like I am committed to that height. And people, when they see me and meet me, oftentimes, unless they're like tall like you, people are like, you're really. And then when I tell them I'm only 5'2", they're like, what? They think I'm taller. I think it's just because I have like maybe bigger. I don't know. Like my energy is bigger. I don't know. But I have a lot of people thinking that I'm taller than I am. But I have a funny story about the heels thing. I've always worn heels for a networking event. And I don't know how many years ago, this was probably 10 years ago. I went to an event where I didn't have heels and I was being honored to take over this position. And during this transition, if you will, there was like 3 people standing up there with me. We had a guy that was like 6'6", and another guy that was like 6 foot, and then a female, and she was almost 6 foot, and then myself, 5'2". And then standing behind us, there was 2 other gentlemen who were like, one was like 6'5" and maybe one was like 6'2". And during their all these people are standing around, and when they've switched me over and I come into the middle stage, the people can't see me. So the guy behind me, no joke, I feel pressure under my armpits. And I get hoisted up like Simba to his new kingdom, like, welcome to Simba. And I was like I had that moment in my head where I was like, is this really happening right now? Is this really happening? And I'm like, yes, this is really happening. You were being hoisted. So I was like 2 feet off the ground. So he put it, he sat me down, and of course it was a chamber event. So when I was leaving, I told the lady that I was there, representing you. I was like, you know what? I was like, I've been picked up on at networking events, but I've never been picked up literally at a networking event. So it's kind of like, now I wear heels all the time to networking events because of that.
Well, I mean, all I think of when I think of that story is, so what was his pickup line? Bump. Anyway.
It's funny.
Okay. Next one here is kind of a common one. Beach or mountains?
Oh, beach, 1000%. And I'm like missing the beach right now. I know. Beach, totally beach. I think I was a mermaid in a past lifetime. I'm just thinking, I love being around water of any sorts. There's water, there's a high chance that I'm hopping in. Fun nugget about me, I carry a swimsuit in my car all year round because I never know when there's an opportunity that I could be in water.
Okay, which you just revealed something, and I'm going to ask, and don't take this the wrong way, but is that swimsuit 2-piece or 1?
2. Oh my
okay,
gosh.
let's move on to this is one of the controversial ones come in, and that is pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
I'm not a huge fan, but I will eat it if required.
Okay.
Yeah. My daughter, that's her favorite kind of pizza at this time. And so, I'm not over the moon. It's not my top 5 faves, but I'll eat it if must. Sometimes I pick them off and have less pineapple per pineapple bite, right?
Yeah,
so I still have pineapple, but just not as crazy as 4 per bite.
Yeah, it's one of those things that some people are so like no, it does not belong. It's like,
I'm a pretty easy to please person, so I'll make my way, but I'll take care of me.
Let's see how easy you are with this next controversial question.
Okay. Oh, controversial.
Toilet paper, does it go over on the roll or under?
1000% over, like completely. Like there's no negotiating this. And I believe that NASA, I think it was NASA, did some research and said that you use less if it's over.
Oh.
So I am trying to save the environment one square at a time. I'm doing my part. And you should too.
This is the one question that some of the people are like, no, I'm the easiest person to get along with. The toilet paper question comes up, bam, this is how it is.
But you know what? If my husband puts it on backwards, or if sometimes I accidentally, like I'm not paying attention, I'm like, whatever, just I'm not going back, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to be, so I'm pretty easy to go, but it's definitely over.
So yeah, and I had I don't know if you know Cammie Baker. I had Cammie Baker on. She's from New Hampshire, and Cammie actually said on her interview when I asked her, she goes, "I'm a single girl, and when I date a guy, after the third time of going to his house and changing that toilet paper from under to over, we break up. This relationship is going nowhere."
But what about for you? Over or under?
I don't care. In my personal bathroom, it's sitting on the back of the toilet.
All right, there you go.
And the roll is it has an empty roll on the roll. Anyway. My wife's bathroom downstairs, different story.
I was to say, are you still married?
Yeah, we have my office has a bathroom that is the old. When we bought this condo, we redid everything but that bathroom because we knew it was just going to be my office bathroom, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
it's functional. We're good. Yeah. My last one I love to ask people, this one can relate or not, and that is boxers or briefs.
So for my husband, totally boxers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a guy, but I just think that the other one would be like too suffocating or something. I don't know. Like,
I love to ask that question because the married women come out and go, well, and some of them will go, well, on my husband, I prefer. Well, that's probably why I'm asking the question. Maybe you're listening.
You are amazing. I just love you.
You got to have fun in this, and that's why we do those 10 or 8, 9 questions is to have fun with people and let people know you have a fun side. But I loved yours. I got the this or that from watching a Sammy Hagar show. So anyway.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it how you wrap it up with that.
Yeah. So one more time, tell everybody both on the audio and the video how they can get a hold of you, their website, and make sure we can get connected with you.
Yes, absolutely. So it's talkingwithteri, TERI.com. And if you want to connect, if you want to have a further conversation or just want a freebie, just do the talkingwithteri.com/connect.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I thank Teri for being on our guest today on Tim Gillette Show. Thank you, the listener, for tuning in and getting to know another great person on the planet like Teri. All right. If this is your first time to watch, do me a favor. Go over to thetimgilletteshow.com, which will take you to our Apple podcasts, and you'll be able to subscribe. And by all means, if you know somebody who would like to be a guest on our show, have them go to timgillette.com/podcast interview, and we'll see you next time with another great guest here on the Tim Gillette Show. For now, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.